simple 50-cent coin sitting in your drawer could be worth over $1 million? Sounds crazy, right? But some rare Kennedy half-dollar error coins have shocked collectors, selling for life-changing money. We're talking about tiny mint mistakes, hidden details, and historical secrets that most people completely ignore. And the scariest part? You might already have one, and not even know it. In the next few minutes, I'm revealing the top 5 most valuable Kennedy half-dollar error coins ever discovered, and how to spot them before it's too late. Don't blink, because coin number 1 could change your life forever. What if I told you that a coin you've probably seen, maybe even spent without thinking, could be worth not just thousands, but potentially millions of dollars? Sounds unbelievable, right? But here's the truth. Hidden in plain sight, sitting in drawers, coin jars, and forgotten collections across America, is a special coin that most people ignore. A coin minted to celebrate history, yet quietly holding secrets that could change someone's life overnight. Today, we're talking about the 1776 to 1976 D. Kennedy half-dollar. And before you think, I've seen that coin, it's nothing special, let me stop you right there. Because that exact assumption has cost people fortunes. This is not just a story about a coin. This is a story about missed opportunities, hidden value, and the thin line between ordinary and extraordinary. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear might make you look at every coin in your pocket very differently. Back in 1976, the United States celebrated its bicentennial, 200 years of independence. To honor this milestone, the U.S. Mint released a special series of coins unlike anything seen before. Among them, the Kennedy half-dollar. But this wasn't just another half-dollar. It featured a unique dual date, 1776 to 1976, and a special reverse design showing Independence Hall. Millions were minted, and that's exactly why most people dismiss it today. Too common, they say. But here's where things start to get interesting. Not all 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollars are created equal, especially the ones with the D mint mark, produced in Denver. Hidden among millions of ordinary coins are rare variations, minting errors, and high-grade specimens that collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts for. And I mean staggering. We're talking thousands, tens of thousands, even 6-figure valuations in extreme cases. Yes, you heard that right. Now imagine this: you're cleaning out an old drawer. You find a handful of coins. One of them looks slightly different. You almost toss it aside, but something tells you to look closer. That one decision could be worth more than your car. Maybe more than your house. So what makes this coin so valuable? Let's break it down. First, condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Most bicentennial half-dollars were heavily circulated. Scratches, wear, dull surfaces, they're common. But a pristine, uncirculated 1776 to 1976 D. Kennedy half-dollar? That's a different story. Coins graded at the highest levels, MS-67, MS-68, or beyond, are incredibly rare, and rarity drives value. Some of these high-grade coins have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. Now pause for a second. How many people actually check the condition of their coins? Exactly, most don't. And that's why valuable pieces slip through the cracks every single day. Second, errors. This is where things get really exciting. Mint errors are like jackpots in the coin world. They're unintentional, unpredictable, and incredibly valuable. For the 1776 to 1976 D. Kennedy half-dollar, collectors are constantly searching for double die errors, where the design appears slightly duplicated. Off-center strikes, where the image is misaligned. Clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing. And even subtle anomalies that only trained eyes can spot. Here's the crazy part. What looks like a damaged coin to an untrained person could actually be a rare mint error worth thousands. So the next time you see a coin that looks off, don't ignore it, because that imperfection might be perfection in disguise. Now let's talk about composition. Most Denver minted bicentennial half-dollars were made with a standard copper-nickel-clad composition. But there are exceptions, and exceptions are where the money is. Some collectors believe that rare transitional errors or unusual metal compositions may exist. Coins that slipped through the minting process with unexpected materials. These coins are extremely rare, and when discovered, they can command incredible prices. We're talking about coins that defy expectations and rewrite their own value. But here's the part that most people don't realize: Even ordinary 1776 to 1976 D. Kennedy half dollars are becoming more valuable over time. Why? Because fewer and fewer are being preserved in high condition. Because collectors are constantly removing the best examples from circulation. And because demand is growing. Think about it. Every year, more people enter the coin collecting world. More people start searching. More people start buying. But the supply, it doesn't increase. That imbalance creates opportunity. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually checked your coins, not just glanced at them, but really looked? Examine the details. The mint mark. The condition that if your answer is never, you're not alone. But that's exactly why opportunities like this exist. Because most people are too busy, too distracted, or simply unaware. And while they're scrolling, spending, and ignoring, a small group of informed individuals are quietly finding value where others see nothing. Which group do you want to be in? Let's bring this back to reality for a moment. Imagine finding a 1776 to 1976 D. Kennedy half dollar in near-perfect condition. You send it in for grading. Weeks later, you get the results. MS67, maybe even higher. Suddenly, that 50-cent coin isn't just pocket change anymore. It's an asset. A conversation piece. A potential investment. And in some cases, a life-changing discovery. Sounds exciting, right? But here's the twist. Most people will never experience this. Not because the opportunity doesn't exist, but because they never look. And that brings us to the most important part of this entire story. Awareness. Because once you know what to look for, everything changes. Coins are no longer just coins. They become clues, opportunities, hidden pieces of history waiting to be discovered, and the 1776 to 1976 D. Kennedy half dollar. It's one of the best places to start. But before you rush off to check your coins, there's something you need to understand. Not every bicentennial half dollar is worth thousands. Not every coin will make you rich, and yes, claims of millions should always be approached with caution. But, and this is important, the possibility of significant value is very real. And sometimes, that's all it takes. Point one coin, point one discovery, point one moment of curiosity. So here's what I want you to do. After this video ends, go find your coins. Check your drawers, your jars, your old collections. Look for the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half dollar with the D mint mark. Examine it closely. Check the condition. Look for anything unusual. And most importantly, don't assume it's worthless. Because that assumption is where most people lose. Now here's the cliffhanger. What if the coin you find isn't just valuable, but rare enough to attract serious collectors? What if it has a hidden error that no one else has noticed? What if you're holding something truly extraordinary? There's only one way to find out. In the world of coin collecting, fortunes aren't always found in vaults or auctions. Sometimes, they're found in the most ordinary places, a pocket, a drawer, a forgotten box. And sometimes, they're found by people who simply decided to look a little closer. So don't wait. Don't ignore the possibility, and definitely, don't underestimate the coins in your possession, because the next life-changing discovery might already be in your hands. You just haven't realized it yet. But stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might be looking at your spare change very differently, and you might even feel a little uneasy about the coins you've already spent without checking. Today, we're diving into the mysterious, overlooked, and shockingly valuable 1998 P. Kennedy half dollar, a coin that 99% of Americans have seen, but almost no one truly understands. And here's the twist. The difference between a coin worth 50 cents and one worth a fortune could come down to a tiny detail most people never even notice. So don't blink. Don't skip. Because the moment you miss might be the moment you miss your payday. Let's start with the basics. The 1998 P. Kennedy half dollar was minted in Philadelphia, part of a series honoring President John F. Kennedy. By the late 1990s, these coins weren't even widely circulated anymore. Most were tucked away in collections, mint sets, or forgotten drawers. Which means something important. Low circulation doesn't just make a coin rare, it makes high-quality examples incredibly valuable. But here's where things get interesting. Most 1998 P half dollars are worth, well, 50 cents. Maybe $1 or $2 in pristine condition. Not exactly life-changing. So why are collectors, and even serious investors, suddenly paying attention? Because hidden within this seemingly ordinary coin are rare variations, minting anomalies, and ultra-high-grade specimens that can command jaw-dropping prices. And I'm talking about coins that have sold for thousands, tens of thousands, and under the right circumstances, could push into the million-dollar conversation. Yes, $1 million. Let that sink in for a second. Now here's the question you should be asking yourself. What makes one of these coins so valuable? And how do I know if I have one? Great question. And the answer might surprise you. Act 2. The discovery. Imagine this, you're cleaning out an old drawer. You find a small stack of coins. Nothing special. Just loose change from years ago. You almost toss them aside. But something stops you. You pick up a Kennedy half-dollar, flip it over, and notice the date. 1998. Your heart doesn't race yet. Why would it? But then you remember something, maybe from a video like this one. You start to look closer. And that's where everything changes, because the true value of the 1998 P. Kennedy half-dollar lies in 3 key factors: condition, errors, and rarity within rarity. Let's break that down. First, condition. Coins are graded on a scale, with the highest levels being mint state 67, 68, and beyond. Most coins never reach that level. They get scratched, worn, handled. But if you happen to own a 1998 P. Kennedy half-dollar in near-perfect condition, sharp details, no visible marks, original luster, you're already holding something rare. Now here's a quick reality check. How many coins do you have sitting around that have never been touched, never been circulated, never been damaged? Exactly. That's why high-grade coins can sell for thousands of dollars. But we're not done yet. Because condition alone doesn't create legends. Errors do. Now let's talk about minting errors. This is where things go from interesting to explosive. During the minting process, mistakes can happen. Double strikes, off-centered designs, decrets, missing details. Most of these errors are caught, but some slip through. And when they do, they create one-of-a-kind coins that collectors will fight over. Think about it. In a world where millions of identical coins exist, what do you think happens to the value of one that's completely unique? Exactly. It skyrockets. There have been cases where error coins from modern years, yes, even the late 90s, have sold for astonishing amounts. Now imagine a 1998 P. Kennedy half-dollar, in pristine condition, with a rare minting error. You're no longer talking about pocket change. You're talking about a potential gold mine. And here's the scary part. Most people never even check. They spend these coins. They ignore them. They lose them, which means fewer and fewer examples survive. And that drives value even higher. But wait, there's one more layer. And this is where things get really serious. Ultra-high-grade registry coins. These are coins graded at the absolute top of the scale, MS68, MS69. Sometimes even higher. They are incredibly rare. Sometimes only a handful exist. And collectors? They don't just want them. They compete for them. Aggressively. Because owning the best example of a coin isn't just about money. It's about status, prestige, and legacy. And when two wealthy collectors go head-to-head over a single coin, prices can go insane. We're talking tens of thousands, even pushing into six-figure territory. Now pause for a second. What if, sitting somewhere in your home, is a coin that could spark that kind of bidding war? Would you even know? Or would you overlook it? Like millions of others already have. Act 3. The opportunity. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Opportunities like this don't stay hidden forever. As more people learn, as more coins get graded, as more collectors enter the market, the window starts to close. That's why timing matters. That's why awareness matters. And that's why you're watching this video right now. Because you're not like everyone else. You're paying attention. And that could make all the difference. So what should you do next? First, check your coins. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Look for the 1998 P mint mark. Examine the condition. Use a magnifying glass if you have to. Second, do not clean your coins. I repeat, do not clean them. That's one of the fastest ways to destroy their value. Collectors want originality, not shine. Third, if you think you've found something unusual, get it evaluated. Professional grading services exist for a reason. They can authenticate, grade, and potentially unlock the true value of your coin. And finally, stay curious. Because this isn't just about one coin. This is about a mindset, a way of seeing value where others see nothing, a way of turning overlooked objects into life-changing opportunities. Now let me leave you with one final thought. Somewhere in America, right now, someone is holding a coin worth a fortune, and they have no idea. Don't let that someone be you. Because the next time you see a Kennedy half-dollar, you won't just see a coin. You'll see potential. You'll see possibility. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see your future. So check your change, and I'll see you in the next video. What if I told you that a simple 50-cent coin, something you might have tossed into a jar years ago, could secretly be worth millions of dollars today? Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might look at your spare change very differently. And more importantly, you might discover you've been sitting on a hidden fortune this whole time. Let's talk about the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark. A coin that most people ignore, but a rare few have turned into life-changing wealth. Now, before you dismiss this as just another coin hype story, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually checked your old coins carefully? Not glanced, not assumed, but truly examined them? Because history has shown us again and again, those who pay attention profit. The story begins in 1964, when the John F. Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced, honoring a beloved president after a national tragedy. Produced by the United States Mint, the coin quickly became more than just currency. It became a symbol of legacy, memory, and American pride. Fast forward to 1972, millions of Kennedy half-dollars were struck that year. At first glance, they seem completely ordinary. No mint mark simply means the coin was produced in Philadelphia, which didn't use mint marks at the time. Nothing special. Right? Wrong. Because hidden among those millions are a few extremely rare variations. And these aren't just slightly valuable coins. We're talking about coins that collectors have paid hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars for under the right conditions. Now here's where things get interesting and a little unsettling. Most people who owned these coins had no idea what they were holding. Some spent them, some lost them. Others, well, they're still sitting in dusty drawers across America, completely overlooked. Imagine that for a moment, at a coin worth a fortune, sitting in a jar labeled spare change. That's not just rare, that's tragic. But what makes a 1972 no mint mark Kennedy half-dollar so valuable? It comes down to three critical factors: condition, rarity, and error. Let's start with condition. Collectors don't just want old coins, they want pristine ones. Coins graded as mint state, especially MS65 and above, can command staggering prices. A flawless surface, sharp details, and original luster can transform a 50-cent coin into something worth thousands or more. Now add rarity into the equation. While millions were minted, very few have survived in perfect condition. Think about it, most coins were circulated, scratched, or damaged over time. Finding one that looks like it just left the mint? That's like finding a needle in a haystack. And then, there are the errors. This is where things explode in value. Certain 1972 Kennedy half-dollars contain striking anomalies, double dies, off-center strikes, or subtle design variations that only experts can identify. These mistakes from the mint are exactly what collectors crave. Why? Because they're unique. And in the world of collecting, uniqueness equals power. But here's the twist. Not all errors are obvious. Some are so subtle, you could stare at the coin for years and never notice them, which means you could already have one and not even know it. Let that sink in. Now, you might be wondering, if these coins are so valuable, why haven't I heard about them before? Great question. The truth is, the coin market operates quietly. Major sales happen behind closed doors, at auctions, through private collectors. It's not front-page news. And that silence creates opportunity. Because while others remain unaware, those who know, act. Let me paint you a picture. A man cleaning out his late father's house finds a small box of coins. Nothing extraordinary, just old change. But one coin catches his eye. A 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. No mint mark. He almost ignores it. Almost. Instead, he gets it appraised. Weeks later, he discovers it's a rare, high-grade specimen with a subtle mint error. That single coin, sold for a price that could buy a luxury car. In cash. Now here's the question you need to ask yourself. What if that story could be yours? Because right now, across America, thousands of people are unknowingly holding coins of significant value. And every day, some of them are being spent, lost, or forgotten. That's where urgency comes in. Time is not your friend in this game. Coins get damaged. Markets shift. Opportunities disappear. The longer you wait, the higher the chance that a valuable coin slips through your fingers forever. And let's be honest, how many times have we all said, "I'll check it later," and never did? Exactly. So here's what you need to do. Start by checking any Kennedy half dollars you already have. Look specifically for 1972 coins without a mint mark. Examine the details carefully, the portrait, the lettering, the edges. If something looks unusual, don't ignore it. Next, consider getting your coin professionally graded. Services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and assign a grade, which is critical for determining value. And here's a little insider tip. Even if your coin isn't perfect, don't assume it's worthless. Some collectors actively seek lower-grade coins with unique characteristics. In other words, imperfection can still pay. Now let's talk about the bigger picture. Why are coins like the 1972 Kennedy half dollar becoming so valuable? It's simple. Demand is rising. More people are entering the collectibles market, looking for tangible assets. Unlike stocks or digital currencies, coins are physical. They have history, they have story, and in uncertain times, that matters. Plus, there's something deeply satisfying about holding a piece of value in your hand. No pasquets, no apps, just real, undeniable worth. But here's the cliffhanger. Experts believe that many rare coins haven't even been discovered yet. Yes, you heard that right, which means the next $1 million coin might not be locked away in a museum. It might be sitting in someone's kitchen drawer. Maybe even yours. And if that doesn't get your attention, I don't know what will. Before we wrap up, let's address one final thought. Some people will watch this and do nothing. They'll shrug it off, assume it's unlikely, and move on. Others will take action. They'll check their coins. They'll educate themselves. They'll position themselves to win. The difference between those two groups? One stays exactly where they are. The other unlocks opportunity. So which one are you? Because the truth is, wealth doesn't always come from working harder. Sometimes, it comes from seeing what others overlook. And right now, the 1972 no mint mark Kennedy half dollar is one of those overlooked opportunities. Don't let it pass you by. Take a closer look. Ask questions. Stay curious. Because your next big discovery might already be in your pocket. And wouldn't that be something? What if I told you that a coin sitting quietly in your drawer right now could be worth not just hundreds, not even thousands, but potentially millions of dollars? Sounds unbelievable, right? But here's the truth. Most people don't realize what they're holding. They overlook it, bend it, toss it aside like it's nothing. And just like that, a life-changing opportunity disappears forever. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most misunderstood coins in American history, the 1971 P mint mark Kennedy half dollar. And before you say, "Wait, I've seen those before," they're common. Hold that thought, because what you're about to learn could completely change how you look at your pocket change forever. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually checked your coins? Not just glanced at them, but really looked. Because hidden among millions of ordinary coins are a few extraordinary ones. Rare errors, unique strikes, almost impossible variations. The kind collectors fight over, the kind auction houses chase, the kind that can quietly turn someone into a millionaire overnight. And the 1971 Kennedy half dollar? It's one of those coins that hides its secrets in plain sight. But here's the catch. Only a tiny percentage are worth big money. The rest? Just 50 cents. So how do you know the difference? Stay with me, because missing this could cost you everything. The story begins in 1971, a turning point in U.S. coin history. This was the year the Kennedy half dollar transitioned fully into a copper-nickel-clad composition. No more silver. No more obvious value in the metal itself, which is exactly why people stopped paying attention. And that is where the opportunity begins. Because when people stop looking, mistakes slip through. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes are everything. Now let's talk about the 1971 P mint mark coin. Interestingly, it doesn't actually show a mint mark. Coins struck in Philadelphia during that time didn't carry a P. So if you have a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark, you're already looking at the Philadelphia issue. But here's where things get exciting. Among millions of these coins, a few came out with striking errors so rare, so unusual, that collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts to own them. We're talking about double die errors, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even ultra-rare high-grade specimens that look almost perfect under magnification. Now pause for a second. Imagine holding a coin that looks completely normal to the naked eye. But under the right light, at the right angle, you suddenly notice something's off. A doubling in the lettering, a misalignment, a subtle imperfection that shouldn't be there. That tiny detail? That's where the money is. And here's the kicker. Some of these rare 1971 Kennedy half-dollar error coins have sold for thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars depending on condition and rarity. But let's go deeper, because this is where most people miss out. Condition. Collectors don't just want rare coins, they want perfect rare coins. Coins graded MS65, MS66, or higher, these are the elite tier. And when a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar reaches that level with a rare error, now you're entering a completely different price bracket. We're talking serious money. And yes, in extremely rare cases, with the right combination of error, condition, and collector demand, values can climb into the six-figure range and beyond. But here's the part nobody tells you. You could already have one. Sitting in an old jar, tucked away in a forgotten box. Or worse, you might have already spent it. Think about that for a moment. How many coins have passed through your hands over the years? How many chances quietly slipped away? Now let me interrupt you for a second. Don't panic. Because this is where your advantage begins. Most people still aren't paying attention, which means the opportunity is still alive. Right now. But only if USCT. So here's what you need to do next. First, go find your coins. Yes, right now. Drawers, piggy banks, old collections. Anywhere coins might be hiding. Focus on Kennedy half-dollars dated 1971. No mint mark? Good. That's exactly what you want. Now examine them closely. Look at the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Do you see any doubling? Check the edges. Is the strike centered? Or slightly off? Does anything look unusual, even slightly? Because in this world, slightly can mean everything. Next, condition. If your coin looks almost brand new with sharp details and minimal wear, you might be holding something special. And if you think you found something, don't clean it. Let me say that again, do not clean the coin. Cleaning can destroy its value instantly. Instead, consider having it professionally graded by a trusted service. That one step could turn uncertainty into clarity, and clarity into cash. Now here's the emotional truth most people don't talk about. This isn't just about coins. It's about opportunity. It's about realizing that value exists all around you, often hidden in the most ordinary places. And the difference between those who build wealth and those who don't is awareness. The willingness to look closer. To question what others ignore. To act when others hesitate. So let me ask you one final question. What if the next coin you check is the one that changes everything? The one that turns curiosity into profit. The one that proves you were paying attention when others weren't. Because right now, somewhere in America, a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar worth thousands, maybe more, is still out there. Unnoticed, unclaimed, waiting. The only question is, will you be the one who finds it, or the one who let it slip away? Check your coins. Your future might already be in your hands. What if I told you, a coin sitting quietly in your drawer right now could be worth not just thousands, not even hundreds of thousands, but potentially millions of dollars? Sounds impossible, right? Well, before you dismiss it, let me ask you one simple question. Have you ever checked your 1992 Kennedy half-dollar closely? Because what you're about to discover today might completely change the way you look at your spare change forever. Most people see coins as everyday objects, something you spend without thinking. But serious collectors, people who truly understand the market, see something very different. They see opportunity, they see hidden history, and sometimes they see life-changing wealth hiding in plain sight. Today, we're diving deep into one specific coin, the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar. At first glance, it looks ordinary. It's not made of silver like the older halves. It's not ancient. It doesn't scream rare or valuable. But here's the twist. Some versions of this exact coin have shocked collectors with values reaching into the thousands, and in extreme, rare cases, far beyond what most people ever imagine. And the scariest part, most people have no idea what to look for, and they spend these coins like they're worth 50 cents. Let's go back for a moment. The year is 1992. The United States Mint in Denver produces millions of Kennedy half dollars. These coins are part of everyday circulation, and nothing about them seems extraordinary. But as with many coins, the magic isn't in the obvious, it's in the mistakes, it's in the details, it's in the tiny variations that only trained eyes, or lucky individuals, manage to catch. And that's where things start to get interesting. Now imagine this. You're going through an old jar of coins. Maybe it belonged to your parents, maybe your grandparents, maybe it's been sitting untouched for years. You pick up a Kennedy half dollar, you flip it over, and you notice something slightly off. At first you think, probably nothing. But what if that nothing is actually the difference between 50 cents and a financial breakthrough? Here's where most people make a costly mistake. They assume newer coins, especially from the 1990s, can't be valuable. That assumption, it has cost people thousands, sometimes more. Because the truth is, certain 1992 D Kennedy half dollars have been discovered with rare minting errors and high-grade conditions that push their value far beyond expectations. Let's break this down. First, condition.in. Coin collecting, condition is everything. We're talking about grades like MS65, MS66, even MS67 and above. These are coins that are nearly flawless, pristine, almost untouched by time. Now here's the kicker: a 1992 D Kennedy half dollar in average condition may be worth face value. But in near-perfect mint state, we're suddenly talking hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And yes, collectors have paid serious money for coins that meet these strict grading standards. But wait, that's just the beginning, because condition alone doesn't create the kind of explosive value we're hinting at. The real story lies in something much more exciting: errors. Let me ask you this: have you ever seen a coin where the design looks doubled? Or slightly shifted? Or maybe parts of the image seem misaligned? That's not damage. That could be a mint error, and mint errors are where ordinary coins become extraordinary. For the 1992 D Kennedy half dollar, collectors are constantly searching for rare variations like double die errors, where the design appears duplicated. Off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting, die cracks or breaks, creating unusual lines or textures, and even subtle anomalies that only experts can identify. Each of these errors tells a story, and collectors, they love stories, because stories drive demand, and demand drives value. Now here's something that might surprise you: not all valuable coins are discovered by experts. In fact, many of the most valuable finds come from everyday people, just like you. People who took a moment to look closer, people who didn't assume, people who asked, what if this is something more? And this is where things get intense. Because the coin market isn't static. It's evolving. Prices fluctuate, demand rises, and certain coins, especially rare error coins, can suddenly skyrocket in value when collectors realize how scarce they truly are. So the question becomes, how many valuable coins are still out there, waiting to be discovered? And more importantly, could one of them be yours? Let's talk real numbers for a second. While most 1992 D Kennedy half dollars remain common high-grade examples, have sold for hundreds to thousands of dollars. Rare error versions, they can command even higher premiums depending on the uniqueness and visibility of the error. And in the world of coin collecting, it only takes one extraordinary example to break records. That's how coins reach jaw-dropping prices. That's how headlines are made. And that's how ordinary people suddenly find themselves holding something worth far more than they ever imagined. But here's the part nobody tells you: finding a valuable coin is only half the battle. Knowing what to do next, that's where real success happens. Imagine discovering a rare coin and selling it for $100, only to find out later it was worth $10,000 or more. Painful, right? That happens more often than you think. Because without proper knowledge, without proper grading, without understanding the market, you're basically guessing, and guessing can cost you. So what should you do? First, slow down. Don't rush to sell. Second, examine your coins carefully. Look for sharp details, Look for unusual features. Look for anything that feels different. Third, consider professional grading. Companies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and grade your coin, giving it credibility in the marketplace, and credibility increases value. Now let's take a step back. Because this isn't just about one coin. This is about a mindset, a shift in how you see the world around you. Most people walk through life ignoring small details. They overlook opportunities. They assume nothing valuable could be hiding in something so ordinary. But history has proven again and again that extraordinary value often hides in the most unexpected places. And right now, somewhere out there, a 1992 D. Kennedy half-dollar is sitting unnoticed, unappreciated, waiting for someone to recognize its true worth. So let me ask you one final question. What if that coin is already in your possession? What if the difference between where you are now and where you want to be is sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or a forgotten collection? This is your moment, your opportunity, your chance to look closer, think differently, and take action. Because the people who succeed in this space aren't just lucky, they're curious, they're patient. They're willing to see what others ignored. So tonight or tomorrow morning, go check your coins. Seriously, take 5 minutes. Look for that 1992 D. Kennedy half-dollar. Examine it, question it, research it, because you never know. That simple habit could lead to something extraordinary. And if you found this valuable, if this opened your eyes even a little, then you're already ahead of millions of people who never even look. Stay curious, stay alert, and remember, sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest rewards.